Hello everyone. Today we are going to talk about the cylindrical vessels with hemispherical ends. So this is the topic of the day. Uh, Today, in the last section, last class also we discussed this. I am just revising this. So this is a cylindrical vessel. So something, it is something like this. And So in a cylindrical vessel, there is some fluid or liquid due to which there is a pressure P inside the uh, pressure P is there. Now to evaluate what would be the stresses developed, so we have make a cut over here, something like this, and that has been shown over here. It's a 3D image has been shown in this portion. Okay, so sigma zz in the cylinder, sigma zzc is acting, it has been shown, is acting over here in this region. This area is pi d times tc. Tc is the thickness of the cylindrical portion and ts is the thickness of the spherical portion. So this sigma zzc is acting on this area pi d tc, while this pressure P is acting on this whole area. On this area pressure P is acting and this area is given by pi d square by 4. Now if this cylindrical portion, the cut portion, is in equilibrium, the net forces in x direction is this one, so net forces in x direction should be 0. Net force in x should be 0. So we can have this expression sigma zz c times area and p times the respective area, which is pi d square by 4. So this will help us to get an expression for sigma zc. Sigma zc is nothing but the longitudinal strain in the cylinder. Okay, now if we cut the same cylinder into this much portion, this and this. So this portion I have shown over here, a half cylindrical portion. Now as you see, on this surface and on this surface, sigma theta theta would be acting, and this area is T times delta Z, Tc times delta Z. Similarly, this area is Tc times delta Z. On these two areas, theta c is acting in the downward direction, while pressure is acting on each and every internal surface. The effect of this pressure can be taken as P times this area, the projected area. And this projected area is nothing but diameter times delta Z. Now if this portion, that is this whole portion, is in equilibrium, then net forces in y direction should be 0. Okay. So if net forces in y direction is equals to 0, this implies theta c times the area, that is this area plus this area, which is 2 times Tc. Tc means the thickness of the cylindrical portion times delta Z. And the projected area is d times delta Z, this projected area. So P times d times delta Z. So this will give us this expression for hoop stress in the cylindrical portion, or sigma theta theta c. Okay, now let us come to hemispherical portion. So there are two hemispherical portion, one is this one and another is this one. I have made a cut over here and shown a 3D image of the same. Now on this area is the material, its area is pi times d times ts. Ts stands for thickness of the spherical portion. On this area, theta s is acting, that is hoop stress, theta s is acting, and this area is the internal area on which pressure is applied is pi d square by 4. Okay, now again if we take the equilibrium, consider the equilibrium condition of this hemispherical portion, then net force in x direction should be 0, and this will provide us theta, sigma theta theta acting on this area pi dts should be equals to p times the projected area of the hemispherical shell. Okay, so this will give you sigma theta theta s as pd by 4 ts. So we have derived the expression for the hoop stress in spherical portion and longitudinal and hoop stress for the cylindrical portion. Now let us talk about hoop strain in the cylindrical portion. Hoop strain. So hoop strain is epsilon hc, which we also represent epsilon theta theta c. C stands for the cylinder. So it would be sigma, this is the Hooke's law, sigma theta theta by E minus nu by E times sigma RR plus sigma ZZ. Now when we started talking about the thin cylinders and thin spherical shells, we assumed that sigma RR is very small compared to the other two stresses. So that's why it has been neglected. Okay, now we have put the expression for sigma theta theta c and sigma ZZC over here from the earlier derivation. So this will give you the hoop strain in the cylindrical portion like this. Similarly, hoop strain in spherical portion can be evaluated like this: sigma theta theta by E and nu by E times sigma RR plus sigma phi phi. Remember, here there is no sigma ZZ. In case of spherical shell or thin spherical vessels, there is no Z directions. We generally, of course it can be, but we generally work in R theta phi coordinate system, which we call spherical coordinate system. So sigma theta theta s is this one, and sigma phi phi is nothing but it should be same as sigma theta theta, which we call hoop stress. Okay, putting the value of sigma theta theta, we obtain epsilon h, that is the hoop strain in the spherical portion, to be this. Now what will happen if the hoop strain in cylinder in sphere and hoop strain in cylinder are different? Then a cylinder will become, in that case a vessel like this, it will become something like this, or it may become something like this. If the strain in hoop strain, or you can say the diametric strain or change in dia of the cylindrical portion and spherical portions are different, then there will be distortion at the joint of sphere and cylinder. To avoid such situation, we have to equate the two strains, that is hoop strain in cylinder and hoop strain in sphere should be same. If we equate the expression for the two like this, we will get a relation between thickness of cylinder, that is this one, and the thickness of sphere. So the spherical thickness of spherical shell and thickness of the cylindrical shell should be related to each other according to this expression. Okay, if the thickness have this much this relationship, then there will be no distortion at the joint of the cylindrical and hemisphere. Okay, after that let us talk about the end effect. So whatever the expressions we have derived for sigma theta theta s or sigma theta theta in cylinder, or for sigma z z in cylinder, whatever the expressions we have derived, there we have assumed that the cylinder is perfectly cylinder and the material is isotropic throughout. There are no discontinuities. However, in actual situation, there would be a joint in the cylinder portion. This is a longitudinal joint. This may be a welded joint, or this may be joint using a rivet or anything else. So there would be some joints. Similarly, there may be possibility that if a very long cylindrical vessel is made, then obviously it will be made up of by joining two or more cylindrical portions, and these joinings would be using either welding, or it may be used or riveted joint may be used. So because of these joints, जो डेरिवेशन हमने किया है सिग्मा हुप स्ट्रेस का या लॉन्गिट्यूडनल स्ट्रेस का, उसकी जगह पे कहीं कहीं कुछ रीजन्स ऐसे होंगे जहाँ पर स्ट्रेसेस ज़्यादा होंगी, जो हमने डेरिवेशन से इवेलुएट किया है स्ट्रेसेस उससे ज़्यादा होंगी. अगर ऐसा केस हुआ तो कितनी ज़्यादा होंगी, उसके लिए हमने एक पैरामीटर डिफाइन किया है जिसको हम कहते हैं एफिशिएंसी ऑफ द जॉइंट. तो एक ऐसी पैरामीटर जो कि एफिशिएंसी ऑफ जॉइंट है, उससे अगर इस स्ट्रेस को जो एक्चुअली डिराइव्ड स्ट्रेस है ये इसे डिवाइड कर देंगे एक फैक्टर से, एक फ्रैक्शन से, यानी 1 से कम क्वांटिटी से, देन दिस थिंग विल बी ग्रेटर देन दिस. सो लॉन्गिट्यूडनल जॉइंट के लिए हुप स्ट्रेस ज़्यादा हो जाएगी, यानी इस तरह का अगर जॉइंट हुआ तो हुप स्ट्रेस जो एक्चुअली डिराइव्ड एक्सप्रेशन है उससे ज़्यादा होगी. तो उसको रियल यानी जो एक्चुअल वैल्यू है वहाँ पे उस इवेलुएट करने के लिए हम जो लॉन्गिट्यूडनल जॉइंट की एफिशिएंसी से इसको डिवाइड करते हैं, लाइक दिस. Similarly, when the joint is like this, which we call circumferential joint, for this case the longitudinal stress would be modified according to this expression. It has to be divided by eta c, which is efficiency of circumferential joint. Okay, similarly for spherical shell we have hoop stress divided by efficiency of the joint in the spherical shell. So here you have to note down that this eta L, eta C and eta, which are the efficiency of longitudinal joint, efficiency of circumferential joint and efficiency of joints in spherical shell, these are fractions, these are values less than 1, then only they will make it bigger. Okay, so that's it for today's lecture, and we will talk about tape wound thin cylinders in the next class. Okay, thank you.